Good morning, everybody. You are tuned in to Cragcore today. Thank you for tuning in and being with me on this lovely, lovely day. Now it is a bit cold out. The old temperature thing on the dashboard here says 4.5 degrees. It's getting colder, isn't it? Although this isn't the coldest it's been this week. The other morning it was about 0.5 degrees, I think. Jesus Christ, that sun again. Got it in for me. So anyway, where are we today? We're at the 4th of December. Now, I think we're about 5 days, aren't we? We're about 5 days in with regards to all of these new restrictions in the UK. So let's just have a bit of an analytical view on, everybody's opinions on how they've experienced it. Because I think insight is very important, because I think we're all going to have different experiences. I know that I've spoken to people that have had some bad experiences. They've had these little pocket Nazis giving them grief. At the doors, at shops and stuff, supermarkets. I mean, fucking hell. Can you imagine being, let's just have a look. Let's look at some points here. I mean, can you imagine being that fucking sad that you're working at the supermarket and, you've been given an appointment at the door asking people for proof of exemptions and stuff, because that's all you're there for, isn't it? You're not going to be giving any grief to people that are wearing these face coverings and stuff, are you? No, you're not, because they're the ones following the rules. So they just walk in, they walk past, no problem. They probably nod at each other, don't they? But can you imagine being one of these people that just spends their life waiting for the opportunity to ask somebody? Because that's what your job description is. COVID marshal, whatever they're called. You're not employed to do, to enforce mask wearing with the people that are wearing them, are you? So your job is quite literally to stand there and to interrogate people that walk in that aren't wearing a face covering. Can you imagine? Number one, when somebody says, who wants the job of doing this? Can you imagine being the guy that puts their hand up? Yes, please, sir, I'll do it. Can't wait. Can you imagine being that guy? What is their life? I mean, this is the thing. You've got to pity these people, because what is their life? Unless you are a person, if, like me, you feel as though all of this is fucking mad, I would probably put my hand up in that instance so I could fucking just let people walk in without any hassle, without any aggro, because then that way you're doing the world a service. They'd probably take my appointment away after the first week or so, because they'd be like, well, why is everybody walking around, without face coverings on? Mr. Cragcore on the door there. He's not asking anybody. He's not interrogating anybody. He's not being hard enough on these terrorists. So they're just getting away with it. Yeah. That's exactly how it would go. So anyway, but I mean, obviously not all of these people are like this. Not all of these people are like this, because I've not had a bad experience yet. I mean, I think the restrictions came in on Tuesday, didn't they? Tuesday the 30th of November. So you've got Tuesday the 30th. I went to the supermarket, no aggro. I've been into town, walked around the shops, I've been into the bank. I've made it a point to go and do the things that I normally do just to basically test the water and see where the land lies, because, you know, I want to basically just get it over and done with. I want to, you know, have these confrontations, should there be any. You know, get it out of the fucking way, because it's going to happen eventually, isn't it? And nobody likes to be waiting in anticipation. You know, especially in a time like this, when you know that there's somebody there waiting with bated breath, you know, for their opportunity to interrogate you. So, as I said though, I've not had a bad experience personally yet, and you know what? I want to say thank you. This is publicly, I want to say thank you to the people that are out there, that are in these positions of, you know, pseudo authority, where they've been deputized against their own people, against their own kind. These people that have been militarized against their own kind. I want to say thank you to you if you are one of these people that is not giving people aggro at the door. Thank you, because you are making people's lives bearable at this point, because none of us, absolutely none of us, are enjoying this. Even the people that are going along with it, even the people that are wearing the face coverings and anti-socially distancing, you know, and doing all of these crazy things, even they're not enjoying it. Of course they're not. I mean, you might find, I mean, I'm sure there is a very small percentage of society that are, call it what you will, maybe addicted to the COVID narrative. That seems to be the case at this point. People, I mean, I don't know how you could be, but it seems that there are maybe a few people that are addicted to it. It's like people get addicted to an adrenaline rush, don't they? They've got to keep doing more and more extreme things to feel accomplished. Well, maybe there's some sort of neural, fucking chemical, biological link with, you know, how this is making people feel, and the fact that they keep needing that hit in order to feel relevant. I mean, I don't know, maybe you could do a social study and see if the people that are going along with it have normally mundane lives. Because if that's the case, well, then you could say, well, you know, it wouldn't be a large leap, would it, then, to just assume that these people now feel valuable in society in some way, because they've lived previously mundane and, you know, down to their own personal view of themselves, you know, insignificant lives. Perhaps they've always felt as though, you know, down to their own actions, although they probably wouldn't ever admit it to themselves, they've always robbed themselves of their own opportunities. So therefore, they're now kind of feeling as though this is their opportunity to shine. This is something they can do, you know. This is something they're able, you know, to be good at in order to feel important in society, like they're actually offering something. I mean, obviously, we're all capable of so much more. Without going down this kind of avenue of conversation, we are all capable of much more. And loosely put, you know, most of the time, you know, 9 times out of 10, we will rob ourselves of our own opportunities through, you know, overthinking things, procrastination, all of these things. We will probably, you know, through fear, of course. And maybe that's the kicker. Maybe that's the key point. Maybe that's the cherry on the top. These people probably, should this be the case, through fear, have robbed themselves of their own opportunities in life. Perhaps they always feel as though they never actually accomplished what it was they wanted to accomplish in life. Maybe they've got goals and aspirations that they never quite lived up to through fear. And now this fear porn, it's kind of giving them an opportunity to combat that fear, isn't it? In some way, and, you know, in some sick, twisted, through the back door kind of way. I mean, this is just off the cuff. Who knows? I mean, I'm probably wrong. I usually am. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's worth looking at and it's worth thinking about. Because why else? I mean, in psychological terms, why else would somebody feel the need to empower themselves over other people? Well, especially when you're talking about, you know, empowering yourself over your own kind. People that are on the same level as you with regards to society and stuff. I mean, you could understand why politicians and that class of people, you know, people from that caste, are, you know, doing what they're doing and, you know, live their lives attempting to lord it up over other people because they're told that that's what they ought to do from birth. I mean, those classes of people, you know, that caste is told, aren't they, from a very young age, you're better than everybody else. It's the indoctrination from the school system, most likely. You know, all of these fucking private schools and stuff. So you can understand it from that perspective. But with ourselves, you know, the working man, the people that are just all the same, everybody else, basically. When somebody wants to try and fucking stomp on somebody else in society, you've got to start asking questions why. It obviously comes down to a psychological issue. And most things, if anybody's looked into any of these esoteric studies of human beings, social studies, you will find out that most of the time, man, in fact, all of the fucking time, let's not be coy here. Let's not be a fish. Because at the end of the day, you've got to accept that all of these things come down to ourselves, man. If you're looking at psychology, well, whose fucking brain is it? It's yours. These traits, this egotistically driven need to push other people below you or to drag others down, it does obviously come down to some, perhaps, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth. Maybe, like I've said before, maybe you've constantly felt as though you've never lived up to your own expectations, so therefore you want to drag other people down so you feel better about it. You know, people will talk about the shadow nowadays, you know, and people like Peterson will say you've got to take responsibility in life. And it all makes sense. You've got people like Ken Wilber talking about integral theory, and it's fucking fascinating. You look at it, and you look at what they're saying about evolution and how society evolves naturally, in the same ways as the universe evolves naturally and stuff like this. And you go, well, fucking hell. It all starts to fucking make a big picture. And then you listen to people who I've recently come into contact with through, you know, the very extremely good work of dark journalist Daniel List, when he's speaking about these ancient mystery school types, you know, like Rudolf Steiner and Gurdjieff. And then you've got these modern day pioneers that, in my opinion, you know, are equally scholarly with regards to these subjects. Other folks, you know, like Gigi Young, I mean, she's a fascinating person to listen to. And Dr. Joseph Farrell. Let's not forget Dr. Joseph Farrell, man. Oh, I mean, there are so many. And if you start then looking at these, you know, the financial side of things, which, don't get me wrong, man, you can't forget that. Catherine Austin Fitts. You can't not look at the financial side, because that is the butter between the bread, in my opinion. You know, that's basically what gels it all together, because money is the motivation behind 95% of these things, or at least money is involved in 95% of these things. Motivation, you could probably split that down the middle. It's money and power, which, you know, go hand in hand anyway. One creates the other, and vice versa. So you start looking into these things and you realise, you know, it doesn't matter how far back you go. Christ, you can look at people like fucking Socrates, you know, Socrates. You know, you can look at people like him. Look at all of these old, ancient, fucking dusty people that have had shit to say. And they will all have these quotes and stuff that you can draw from and say, well, yeah, these people had their finger on the pulse, man. And they were all pushing and kind of, I suppose, directing their thought processes and trying to direct society towards an integral way of thinking. And is that not the way? Is that not the way, especially now when we realise that it is through our division that these people have the power over us? You see their tactics, you see their fucking how they work, man, and what they do in society. Absolutely every aspect of your life is intended to fragment your view on society, whether it's the school system, whether it's the fucking, you know, what sports you follow, teams and stuff, everything, education, absolutely everything, TV show, absolutely everything is out there. I mean, you go as far into it as like, you've got borders, countries, nations, you've got flags, whether it's visual or mental or spiritual, it's there to fucking, you know, religions, different local councilling bodies, the two-party system, absolutely everything. And within these things, you have other fractals. Within each one of these subjects, there are even smaller fractals that then separate and separate and separate to the point where society is so mentally fragmented, to come together is fucking nigh on impossible, because there's so many things that we can individually identify with. And I'm not talking about, you know, moving forward into some kind of communist fucking, like, you know, utopia where everybody thinks the same, everybody is the same, you know, dresses the same, does the same. Because I know that sounds like behind all of this, that's what I'm kind of promoting, but it's not. I think that we should all be able to have our own personal beliefs and personal things that we enjoy and that we identify with 100%, man. Because individuality and difference is what pushes things forward. But we can't get so hell-bent on those things that all we want to do is use our personal identifications as a way to bash other people for theirs. It comes down to acceptance. It comes down to saying, well, I'm comfortable with who I am and what it is I enjoy, you know, and what I identify with. But I can also be comfortable with other people's and what they identify with, so on and so forth. It comes down to the old live and let live again, doesn't it? That's the most important thing, is having this mentality of acceptance and empathy. Sounds simple, doesn't it? You know, you don't have to be forced into this mindset of, well, the only way, because again, this is where it comes down to taking responsibility. Taking responsibility is what leads you into things like empathy and what leads you into, you know, all the good stuff like live and let live. That's taking responsibility. That's that path. That's taking responsibility for your own actions and your own thoughts and how you fucking process that and how, and, you know, and how that integrates with other people's. Taking the path where you are not taking responsibility is what leads you into, say, for instance, communism. Because that's where you are giving that responsibility again over to a governing body, which is then controlling and then dictating for you how you want to live. I.e., everybody wears orange jumpsuits, everybody gets up at this time, there's a curfew at this time, we all go to fucking bed at this time, blah, blah, blah. You're only allowed to eat a certain amount of fucking meals a day. You know, you can only have an X amount of fucking meat and veg and all this kind of shit. Everything's rationalised. So ultimately, that's the path of not taking responsibility. That's where it takes you, is that, and that's why communism never fucking works, because it's always governed. That's why I'm pretty sure why people will say, oh, well, it works on paper, but you know, in theory, you know, in actual practical terms, it never works. Yeah, because you get these fucking oligarchs that want to fucking, that use it basically to empower themselves, and that's because they've been given responsibility over the fucking masses. And the only people that want to put themselves in charge of others is those, in my opinion, that would rather other people have no fucking power whatsoever. The desire for power is the desire for others to be powerless, and it's as simple as that. Because why else? What is power? It's power over other people, and the only way you can have that is if other people haven't got the same amount of power or none at all. So the desire for power is the desire for others to be powerless, and it's as simple as that. So why are you going to trust anybody that wants to fucking put themselves in charge? You know, they're self-motivated quite clearly. Oh, fucking hell. So anyway, these new restrictions, fucking hell, Christ, we went off there. We went off. The fucking, where's the edge of the reservation, Gov? You know, we left it behind a long time ago. We're out galloping, bareback. So anyway, these new restrictions, I mean, I'm really, really happy to see that there is more and more people these days that are doing their own thing, living their lives. And I've noticed that collectively, the people that are just being normal, walking around as normal individuals without face coverings on, you know, just doing as they do, not anti-socially distancing, these kind of things, at this point, just living a life that is as normal and as free as possibly can be in our already kind of, you know, enslaved system of society. They're the ones that are just happy. The ones that have an attitude, you can feel the energy from the people that are going along with all of this. They've got this tightly wound energy. And it's horrible. It's a spiky, prickly kind of energy that you get from these people. You know, it's a very tight energy. And you can just feel it. You can tell that that's what these people are feeling like. And they are fucking directing it towards you. They are pissed off that you're living a normal life. They're pissed off that you're happy. These people are choosing. They're taking it upon themselves to follow these fucking rules and restrictions, even though, you know, quite plainly, they don't want to do it anyway. But they're doing it. And then hating everybody else for not doing it. They're the ones who are miserable. And that should fucking tell you everything you need to know. Absolutely everything you need to know, man. They're the ones who are miserable now in all of this. You know, the only people that are miserable are those that are fucking following these silly fucking rules. That's everything you need to know, isn't it? But like I said, there are more people nowadays that are just doing their own thing. And I don't think, I'm going to finish on this point. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But if they don't, I'm going to fucking say it. And even if you guys do, no, I'm going to say anyway, that what you're doing right now. One second, let me just. I think people, God love parking sensors. I just want to say this. If you're a person that is just doing your own thing, that is living your life and going about your daily business and not following these silly rules and regulations, right, handed down by these fucking oligarch governments. If you're one of these people that is going around just being normal, please acknowledge the strength of what it is you're doing and the importance. It is massive what you're doing. And you should be fucking hugely proud of yourself. In fact, you should be so proud of yourself that you should fucking pat yourself on the fucking back every single fucking time you do it. Because to openly defy, because that's what you're doing, to openly defy a fascistic government is fucking, it's so courageous. It is massive. You are going out there and you are openly in defiance of a fascistic regime. And that is powerful, man. That is absolute. And if you don't realise that's what you're doing, then please know that's what you're doing and fucking own it, man. And feel that fucking power, that energy. Because you are standing now shoulder to shoulder with a revolutionary group of people that are saying no to tyranny, man. That is powerful as fuck. And you've got to acknowledge that. You know, all of these people that are going around just fucking blindly following, you know, the rules blinkered. They're miserable because the energy is changing. It's shifting. Because more and more people are starting to fucking realise and go along with their own rebellious traits, which is what they felt as though they should have been doing quite clearly all along. This time they've been empowered to do so. And because the energy is now shifting and it's changing direction, these people are now out of sync with it. And it's making them feel bad. They will probably eventually realise that that's the reason why. Because one of them will move to the other side of the energy. And then realise, hold on, I don't feel like shit anymore. And then they'll tell other people and their friends and all of that, and then it all starts to spread. But the energy is changing, people. That is why there is more people now that are wanting to live a normal life and that are actually doing so and being open and defiant. And why the other people that are still going along with it feel utterly miserable by doing so. It's because the energy is changing. It's because the actual energy is fucking changing around this subject. And we're doing it. We are doing it. Us. You and me and everybody else like us, we're doing it. We're fucking changing the energy of the world, man. And we're bringing back freedom. So let's do it. So well done to you and everybody else, man, who is out there in open defiance. Thank you very much for your fucking hard work. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for fucking being strong enough, man. Thank you for saying, fuck you. Right, this is Cragcore. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere. I've had a fucking great time with this video. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes. Please do so if you haven't already done. And this is Cragcore signing off. Peace.